Alright, so we're going to be discussing the American frontier, the West, place, or process. So the essay prompt that we'll be looking at throughout the assigned concepts is compare and contrast the idea of the frontier as a process with that of the West as a place. Discuss the significance of the frontier in American history. In your discussion, you must offer an analysis of both the landed and industrial frontiers. Also, describe the West as a place and the experience of the Native Americans from 1860s to the 1970s. So we'll be looking at concept 1 in this clip here. So concept 1 is offer a brief discussion looking at the significance of the American frontier in American history. And be sure to be able to identify the 6 major values that come from the experience of the frontier. So the frontier was not so much a section of the country, but rather a state of mind for the American people. It produced a new set of values which reinforced the worth of the individual within society. The state of mind represents American values and attitudes which came out of the experience of the frontier. So that's what we're going to basically look at in this concept, is there were 6 major values that came out of the experience in the frontier. So opportunity equals basically the frontier. Frontier and opportunity have become synonymous when we look at frontier as a process and not as a place. So up until the 1890s, the frontier was mostly landed, which gave opportunity to those who had the will and ability to survive. Social mobility. The frontier gave people the opportunity to change class. Our society encourages people to make this change if they have the ability. This is what made the United States unique, and the opportunity to change class has been the driving force behind American development. When you look at the frontier as a process. Social Darwinism. And social Darwinism, we're going to look at this a lot more closely in next week's lecture. Social Darwinism is having the ability to adjust to the environment, survival of the fittest. To survive in the frontier, one needed the ability to physically adjust to the harshness of the environment, whether that be the landed frontier or the business opportunities of the industrial frontier. Pragmatism, being practical. To adjust the environment, you have to be practical, flexible, do what works. And so you can't rely on tradition or custom out in the frontier. So if you grew up in a log cabin when you were a kid and moved out to the frontier, the West, you're going to have to figure out a different way to fashion a home, because big trees that will fashion suitable 2x4s aren't going to be readily available. So a lot of there's really iconic pictures that we've probably all seen of people out in the West living in sod homes, which was basically a mixture of water, mud, and buffalo dung. Rugged individualism. The rugged individual, or the self-made man, was self-reliant and had the inner strength that allowed him to survive in the frontier. And then finally, but not least, laissez-faire. In the landed frontier, there was no structured society to regulate or to protect the individual. Thus, with the available land, there was opportunity for those rugged individuals who were pragmatic enough to adjust to the environment. And so that'll cover concept 1, and so we'll be taking a look at concept 2 in the next clip. So I'll see you there. Let me know if you have any questions. So again, basically what we've just done here is to set up the background for the West as a process, as an ideal. Right? And it's important to understand that this West has been ever changing. So at one time, this was the American West, right? And the American West transformed from this area later to this area. This would have been the West of 1783. As the United States expanded and continued to grow, this becomes the West. This is the classic West. This whole area here becomes the kind of the classic Plains West that we might be aware of from Western films. But anyway, we'll cover more of this in Concept 2 and 3. So see you there. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns.